Good morning. How are you today? It is Tuesday, Tuesday, September 28th, 5:24 in the morning. Thank you again for coming and checking up on me. Here's the sky, just the beautiful scenery behind me, and it's a new day. Yesterday's classes didn't go as bad. So slowly trying to find my flow. Last week was just one of those growing pain weeks, and hopefully I can kind of just settle in to my schedule again until something else new happens. Yeah, but I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying making content for the other YouTube channel. A friend of mine asked me yesterday, he's like, hey, what is this whole thing about launching? I said, well, I have a lot of content on the page so far. I've got, 17, 40-minute videos of content. But I kind of want to set it up just a little bit more before make it presentable. If somebody comes to the site, then they can see what it's all about. So anyway, yeah, so yesterday's teacher went well. I've been thinking a lot about your, I'll tell you a story. My father once, he took us to go ATV riding. It was me, my brother, a bunch of his friends, and my father. And so we get to the place in Hawaii, it's called Kualoa Ranch. And we rent these ATVs. Before my father jumps on the bike, he jumps on the bike, he starts it up, and he starts driving just for like a few seconds. And he stops. He gets off the bike, and I'm like, oh, maybe his bike's broken or something. And it wasn't. He whips out his screwdriver, and he just starts unscrewing something below his right hand. So I'm like, what is he doing? He's fixing the bike? It's a rental, it's a guided tour, So anyway, he takes off this one bolt screw, and at that time I didn't know what it was. I really didn't know what it was, and okay, well, maybe he knew a fix, and wow, what a genius. He knew something was wrong, and he had a screwdriver in there to fix it, so he pulls it off. So we go through this tour, all of us on different ATVs, and my father's bike was just fast. It was so fast, and no matter how hard I pressed on the throttle, like I could never catch my father's bike. There's just no way. My bike wouldn't let me go that fast. So it comes to turn out, after the whole tour is finished, we get off the bikes, and I'm like, Dad, how come your bike's so fast? Because I'm looking at it, it's the same bike. Everybody's got the same bike. It's not like I got the smaller bike, he's got the bigger bike. No, we're all riding the exact same size bikes because, tours don't have, well, for the most part, they don't have bike sizes for, differing of 30 pounds. It wasn't that big of a difference. So it comes to turn out, he's like, well, what you don't know, son, is that when these tour bikes, and when these make these bikes for tourists to ride, they put what they call a governor on the bike. And what the governor does is it regulates how fast they allow the bikes to go. And all the governor is a small little screw bolt right underneath the throttle. So he says when Dad jumped on the bike, he turned it on, he started going, he felt that this thing is being governed by a governor. So he got off, and that's why he pulled out his screwdriver and he took out that bolt. And he says now that governor is no longer there. Now he can ride this bike as fast as he possibly can. And that's why I couldn't ride my bike, because I had the governor on it, but I just didn't know. That the governor was there. So kind of taught me a lesson. Like, first of all, my dad's a stinking genius when it comes to engines, and just having the know-with-all about how it's built and why it wasn't going faster than I thought it was possibly able to go. It's because of its governors. So I heard something recently about how we set our self-identity sometimes. And our self-identity is literally those governors in our own minds that kind of limit us, puts a cap on how we define ourselves and what we're able to get. All right. So, for example, we know of some people who are just, they're bad people in general. They're not. Hold on, let me clean that off. They're bad people in general, in the sense that they'll take whatever they can get, and we just look at them as like, oh, why is that person got so much, and why is that guy he's a cheater? why is he doing so successful? As at the same time we try to be good people, and we bring out a pizza. You bring out the pizza. A good person won't take the whole thing. They won't eat the whole thing. They'll take a piece for themselves, maybe two if they're really hungry, and they scan the area and just make sure everybody's got a piece. That's what a good person does. But our self-potential, sometimes we get set for ourselves very early on in age. So like when I got my first job, I think I was making $6.75. I just thought talking financially, with money right now. First job, I got $6.75. I think my next job I got was like 12, so like that's double what the price was, and I'm just like ecstatic. And then I think I worked for that company for a pretty long time, about 10 years in that trade, and then I think I finished at about $16 an hour. I just thought, okay, cool, making money, awesome, this is what it's about. Fast forward to what I'm doing now, and I'm making more now than I made back then, but it's all a balancing game. And I look at my product that I put out, right? So I look at the YouTube videos and the time invested into it, and I look at that and I think, if I had pitched this type of schooling, classing to another company, like, what is this really worth? Because I put a cap on myself. I put a self-identity cap, like, oh, I'm not worth more than $30, or I'm not worth more than that, and that's all self-inflicted, So I have another friend. He grew up next to this very businessman who worked in the hundreds of thousands of dollars of accounts, and like just very big business. And so my friend was able to be mentored by that guy from a very early age. And so his cap he put on himself was a lot higher. His governor, we can say, was put a lot higher than mine was at that age. But he just fell into that mindset that's what he's worth. That's what he's worth. And it was literally like $70, $80 an hour he was making when he was 19 years old. But that's just because he was around the right people. And so that's one way to kind of raise we're talking financially, that's one of the ways to raise our self-identity. One is we put ourselves around people who have the identity that we want, right? The identity that we're trying to strive after. If you hang out with people like that who are business-minded, if you want to talk about money, health-minded, if you want to talk about fitness, if you hang out with these people, your natural inclination is to rise your self-identity when it comes to that area of life. Second is put yourself in a position where you have to put out a product. So good example of mine would be the photo editing, the video editing. I didn't really know very much when I got started, but I said I can do it, and now I was in a position that it forced me to get better. And I had a deadline, I had a promise that I had made to myself, and also with my employer, who at the time didn't really know. But I filled in that gap very, very quickly. I'm not gonna say that I'm a professional video editor by any means. I just look at simple YouTube edits that some other people do online, and it's just amazing work that they do. And I hope I can get to that level one day. But for what was needed, I got to that level. And so that's two ways. One is by association. Hang out with people that you want to be better at in that aspect of life. Now, maybe you don't know any physical people. Maybe you don't have any friends that are exactly like that. What can you do? Well, you can surround yourself with books. That's another way of hanging out with people. Books, podcasts, find YouTube channels that you like that provide quality content, not just trash and watching random people just dance. And it's just like, unless you're a dancer, then watch people dance. But yeah, mindless TikToks and that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about that. Find somebody on YouTube that you really look, that inspires you to be better in that aspect of life. And the other thing is, throw yourself into a situation where you're forced to get better. So in effect, you're unscrewing that governor from your life, and you're raising the level of your self-identity. And so that's what I've been trying to do. I've got some plans. I need to write out more concrete plans of what I want to do with this teaching YouTube channel. I've got more concrete plans I need to break down, because I'm looking at it just like this big chunk, and it's a bit overwhelming sometimes. But that's what they always say: take the big chunk and break it down to small bite-sized pieces. And if that still seems too big, then even more small bite-sized pieces. But that just means going to pilot mode a little bit longer and taking time to try and just dissect the whole process. And then when everything's set out like that, then we can go ahead and improve on, implement the plan and just get busy on the work. So that's what my mindset, releasing the governor. Hoping you enjoyed the story about my dad. But yeah, don't limit yourself. And if you find that there's a limit, then try to find a way that you can break through that limit. Find inspiration, and also throw yourself into a situation where you're forced to do it. For example, you're training for strength. Enter a competition. If you want to get stronger, enter a competition that's forcing you to give you a deadline that everybody's going to meet up, and they're all going to do a competition. So that's your deadline, and that's some motivation for you to get to the next level, increasing your governor on your life. All right, that's enough. That's a long video today. Sorry, it's about 12 minutes long. Oh my goodness. Anyway, Vietnam slowly opening up again, and looks like, yeah, we'll soon be able to resume normal activities pretty soon, or semi-normal at least, but not strict lockdown. And maybe someday soon I'm gonna get rid of this mask in the morning. But anyway, Jesse, you're amazing, you're great, you're good. Keep it up. And one other thing I want to show you guys, there's these bugs. They're called the rove beetle. Are these rove beetles? No, these are not rove beetles. These are not the ones, but there's some nasty little beetles. And yeah, they have acid, venom, poison, I don't know. Anyway, they leave marks and scars on your skin if they get on you. I thought I just saw one. All right, Jesse, amazing, awesome, great. Keep it up. Thank you very much for checking into my video, and we'll catch you next time. Aloha.